Welcome to self-discoverywisdom.com, formerly known as Self-Discovery Media. On these podcasts, you're going to hear people who speak from the heart. They've taken the journey in life. Many things have happened to them, but they've changed it to happening for them. And in their strength, their courage, they've discovered their abilities and their wisdom, and they are now sharing it here with you. Do enjoy each show. We bring it to you with love and knowing that it's going to help you on your journey of life. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Quantum Spirituality, right here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. I'm your host, Sarah Troy. My wonderful guest today is Roberta Skye. We're going to be exploring the quantum field. What if everything is consciousness? How do we access the multiple sources of insight and guidance? The new knowledge about how the heart and the brain receive information, our body's antennae, interspecies communication. Roberta has been in the field of holistic healing for over 40 years, and as a practitioner, workshop and facilitator and teacher, her studies began in New Zealand, covering holistic pulse mind body therapy, breathwork, and various approaches to counseling and abuse healing. She went on to Europe, teaching in 5 countries, and there added Tantra and sacred sex practices, which supported the safe and respectful abuse healing, as well as navigating the return to our natural state of joy and ecstasy. In the next phase of her explorations, her skills has launched through her interspecies communication, exploring life from beyond the perspective of everything being an expression of energy, frequency, and a vibration. And she continues to thrive on studies with the new science of co-creating with the quantum field, integrating knowledge into sessions and workshops to support personal development and limitless access to wisdom. Yummy, 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 yummy. I love it all. And I think, one thing that people need to understand, we're all energetic beings and we all have an energy signature. And those signatures are communicating with each other before we even open our mouths and say a word. Welcome to the show, Roberta.
Thank you so much. And what a spot on segue into the dimensions. Thank you very much.
Well, this is one of my yummies. I love this topic. And I think what we have to do is kind of get out of our human mindset and step into a soul, spirit, and heart set. Because if we just come from the human mindset, we limit ourselves so much, don't we?
Precisely. Yeah. What I'm noticing in the culture is that what you just said, mind, spirit,
Hmm.
is getting into everything. So you can do a little workshop on the spirit of your business
Mm.
and the soul of something. So we are beginning to
Yeah.
normalize the language. And I think what's needed also is practices and
Yes.
curiosity about what do you mean, spirit of a business? How do I work with work? Do I work with that? What is that?
Hmm.
So what I really like to hold in this is the animated curiosity. What if? Stay in the what if, because some of these
Yeah,
are
yeah, yeah,
challenging
yeah,
things from what you described as our
yeah.
human mindset. What if my spirit has a bit, my spirit has a business and my business has a spirit?
Hmm.
How do I elevate that
Yeah.
into some kind of, let's say, frequency or vibration that links it up with more things? So curiosity is a huge key in all of this.
I think kind of, one of the things I think that's happened to society, we've got too much caught up, the what if everything goes wrong, rather than the
Ah,
what if is available to me, the wonder, the excitement. If we could go back to more our childlike wonderment of exploration instead of the what if of fear.
I love your animation. That reminds me of simple things to get yourself there. Is like when I drive into town, which is about twice a week because I'm living out in the country and I love it. I get in the car and I got a list of
Mhm.
I got to get all these things done and get back at a certain time. But I always remember when I start the motor, I go, "Oh, who am I going to meet today? What magic is going to happen? What connections?"
Mm.
And it's what if something unexpected and wonderful
Yeah.
happened?
Yes.
And to just invoke it
Hmm.
consciously. That's when we
Hmm.
can use our normal consciousness to invoke an opening to something new. And it can be that simple.
It is
Wow.
because what you're doing is you're raising out a good vibration.
Mm.
And people unknowingly seek out that good. I mean, misery loves misery, and misery is going to seek out misery, right? But most people are kind of looking for something to uplift them. And so if you are a person that's resonating on a higher frequency of intrigue and fun and joy and kindness and love, then people, like Harry met Sally, what's she having? I want some of that.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Yeah. That's a nice way to put it. You know, there's some clues in here. Can I just take a
Dive in,
little
darling.
go off?
Dive in.
One of the current research is how the heart works and the
Mm,
brain works.
mhm,
And they can be monitored. You put things on the head for the brain and things on the heart. And there have been experiments where random computer pictures are shown, and I'm the watcher. And when a picture comes, and I'm like, or like,
mhm.
oh.
Yeah.
But what happens is, guess which part of us responds first? It's the heart.
Yes.
Not only kind of clicking in to something's coming, but the quality of it.
Hmm.
So before a picture that's going to upset me shows up, my heart is already registering that
Yeah.
before the brain.
Hmm.
And a lot of times in our world, like say I'm going to an interview and I'm nervous, and so I we don't wear our hearts on our sleeves when we go to
Hmm.
something like that. We're shielding it. So then we close the heart so that we can be all in this linear. I've done my research. Here's my profile. Here's the everything.
The
But
expectation.
the heart has a spidey sense that
Yeah.
literally reads the room. So I like to encourage myself and anybody um, to keep the heart open. And what stops us is fear of rejection,
Hmm.
getting hurt, misunderstood, um, being too vulnerable. But that vulnerability is actually a key to insights. And we can work it two ways. When we're preparing for something, we might discover that our heart is telling us, I got everything going, but my heart's not in this. So we
Yeah.
can then withdraw gracefully, or we can be in a meeting and everything looks right, but something's off. So again, the heart is reading the room. And again, if we don't get the job or something, we might know, "Well, actually, I could feel this wasn't right."
Yeah.
On
Yeah.
the other hand, it can go the other way. We go into a room with a bunch of people and our hearts are open, and whoosh, there's a connection
Connection.
across the
Yes.
room. It's like, whoa, what's this? Or really good music comes on and we're like, yeah, everything lights up.
Mm,
So that ability to uh, nourish the heart and stay out of the fear zone, because the
mhm.
ultimate place is we have to trust ourselves, not
Yes.
everything outside of us. Sort of the ultimate place to trust is us. So we need to get used to um, activating that heart muscle that can read for us
Mhm.
and not shutting her down for fear or anxiety. We can monitor that, but don't close, because there's so much
Yes, yes.
information coming through there. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple of things I want to bring up there. One of them, which I always have right here in front of me because I used to teach it, but is your presentation of self. 55% when you walk into the room is the essence of you. If you're a
Mm.
jeans and t-shirt person, don't wear an Armani suit. You're not going to pull it off, right? Come in your positive essence. I own who I am. 38% of it is your tone of voice. Is it setting the stage for people to listen to you? Only 7% is content. So if you're coming in to impress people with all the content of things you've done, you're not going to get there if they're not feeling your essence. And if you haven't given an invitational tone in which for them to tune into. And the other thing about fear, this common sense fear. I want common sense fear to travel with me because it stops me from doing something stupid like walking in front of a bus, putting my hand in the fire. So it's there to give me those, don't. But I want wonderment to step up in place of fear of what's next. I want wonderment of what's next and common sense fear just to have my back.
Oh, precisely. Yes. and not to let the common sense fear trick us into thinking that it's a bad thing or that
Yes.
huge. Yeah, and that's
Yes.
I like that phrase spidey sense because
Mm-hmm.
it reads what's not right, what's not lined up, what's not quite safe or not quite understood. It might be something we just need more information and another kind of wondering. I wonder what's up here, what
Yes.
isn't quite
In true,
right.
but you feel it, don't you? You feel it in the core of you.
Yeah,
Right where
well,
the
if
heart
you're
center
not
is. Yeah.
living up
No, it's
here,
not
yeah,
here.
you're
Yeah. It is like if your head is spinning, is that you're not listening to your heart and your core. If you listen to your heart and core, you'll be able to see the picture, at least get the message that no, this place isn't for me.
it's interesting you say this thing about listening too. When somebody is speaking, if we are so engaged in what we're going to say next, or some kind of response or analysis or
Mm,
question, we are again cut off.
yeah.
So these qualities of deep listening, which is what you're doing as an interviewer and I do as a practitioner, but we as a culture can offer each other, including on an interview or something like that, where we listen, because then the listening goes down into the body. Even when I say
Yeah.
that word,
Yeah.
listen, my
Yes.
belly goes, like it's going to start reading.
Feed
So
me.
feed me.
Yeah.
Yes. And then also the upwelling of the correct is a funny word, but that's what's coming. The correct response for the situation can come from gut feeling
Yes.
and
Yes.
heart energy and not just the
Mm.
mind. And I know how many times in my life I've responded quickly from thinking, and then I go, then I have a conversations with myself for about the next 3 days. I
Yes.
could have, should have said
Yes,
that
I know.
a
What were
different
you
way.
thinking? You were
Yeah,
thinking, not
yeah,
feeling.
that's exactly. Yeah, so it's good to catch oneself in that. I like this. There's a few nuggets coming up here that I didn't even think about before we started talking. So this is
Well,
fun.
that's the beauty of conversation. When you listen to reply in a way that enhances or inquires more, that's a lot of the. I do get some people sometimes are grandstanders, they're public speakers. And so they come on kind of with their public speaking head on instead of an interaction conversation. And I
Mm,
think that is something that we have to be aware of. Conversation is a two-way street. You say something that sparks something in, thought of a feeling in me. I respond to that. And it's like tennis going back and forth, right? Hitting the ball back and forth. And the feeling grows. And I always say with these shows, listen, learn, and apply. If there's one tiny little thing you've got out of the show, apply it because that's why you listened to learn.
precisely. Okay. So that I'm going to take the word apply.
Mm,
And because one of the things that you mentioned is how do we access information? So one of them was the heart,
yeah.
recognizing that our hearts are reading. But another way to do this is to act as if, be in a state of wonderment like a child.
Mm,
Let's imagine that everything is conscious. My couch is conscious, the fire is
mm.
conscious, my glass of water, and water, I'll speak
Definitely is
about that,
conscious.
definitely is conscious. Yeah, we can go there. And that means the blood and the fluids in us. But in this, the term is panpsychic, that
Mhm,
we cross the board, panorama, everything is conscious. And one definition of magic is a willingness to engage with everything.
mhm,
It's not
mhm,
something skill learning. It's this willingness, this
mhm,
openness, this curiosity. So if we have a practice of, let's imagine that things are talking to me and I have a big question. So I can go to a bookshelf and I can pull a book out
yes,
and open it.
yes. Which book speaks to me?
And
Yes.
hello, there could be an answer. Or I could be in the cafe talking to you, and I have this question's roiling around, and somebody says something behind me. I was like,
Mhm.
oh,
Thank you.
thank you. And in the inanimate, supposedly, world, we can be standing next to a tree and suddenly, why does
Mm.
one branch start really moving?
Yes,
And
yes,
so you
yes.
get, I get mesmerized. and I'm watching this, and it's like it changes my brain waves. And that's another thing. In different
Mm.
brainwave states, we access different things. But this branch is going like this. So I can just go, oh, okay, what?
Yeah.
It is a message comes through,
Yeah.
and it can be metaphoric
Mm-hmm.
or it can be something really precise. So I
Yes.
really invite everybody to be in that state of curiosity and the imaginal realm, which is, as kids, we lived in there.
Yes.
We had little
Yes.
friends that were invisible. We had talking to the bees and the flowers, and then of course we get it a little bit squished out of us as
Oh,
not
yes. I have
real.
a whole book on that conformity where we went wrong, trying to get
Yes,
everybody to conform, fit in a nice little box, a nice little label, and we actually killed that spirit of
indeed.
creativity. So
The,
that's what we
the
need to bring back. As adults, we need to bring back, and with children, we need to keep it ignited.
Absolutely, and it's not the thing. What I like is it's not that hard. It's not
It
like you
isn't.
have to go home back and therapize yourself out of this, though for
Mm,
many things we do, but you just decide.
yeah.
Decide, okay, if I was a 4-year-old and I noticed somebody cut their lawn and left all these tufts, I'm looking out my own window, I'd go out there and say, "What's up? What
Yeah.
is this? What does this feel like?" If I sit in a chair and the tuft is waving next to it, what is that? So you can really have fun and step into it easily. But what I would add to this is to have access to information in these different
Yeah.
ways, is to
Yeah.
get into different brainwave states. Now you can go into big studies, you can do hemisync, which is, alpha, beta, theta, and the
Hmm.
one where we accomplish lucid dreaming or out of body experiences or remote viewing. This is a state that's hardly mentioned. So we can get into all these different levels. And doorway number one is meditate.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be
Cross-legged
hours and
pole. Yeah.
hours. Yeah, just let that mind empty. So
Mhm.
even working with clients, our first couple of minutes are, okay, let's do some breathing and just drop out of this and get
Yes.
the mind to slow down. Because in the co-creating with the quantum field, we're all going in there. It's not me or you doing the reading or the analysis or the opening. We are both opening the field for information to come through. And
Yes.
the definition of the quantum field is everything's in there.
Absolutely.
Everything.
Because everything
So,
has an energy signature, so everything can
yeah.
have a response. You've just got to learn to listen.
And artists that do paintings, Leonardo da Vinci, and people that have done whole inventions come out of the dream state. And when
Mm.
we first wake up, we're still in a state. It's a good idea, for God's sake, don't turn your phone on. But if you're lying like this, stay like that. So, okay, I'm awake. Okay, wait. What can I feel? Ask a question, because that state, you're not up into this
Mm.
busy state
Hmm.
yet. And it's the
Twilight
same.
Zone.
Yeah. Well, twilight, especially at night, because
Yes.
we're equally in a hypnagogic state when we're falling asleep. And in there, put a question in for the dreams.
Mm.
Put
Hmm.
uh, open to show me an image of something when you're in this slightly altered state. So you can do deep studies on this, but again, these keys are right next to us. They're
Yes.
there before you go to sleep, as soon as you wake up. So try it. Try it. Try it.
It's just opening up to the channel. I mean, I think one of the things we need to get out of is that as humans, we are the be all and the end all. We're another species on this planet. We're actually a species that's not very respectful of ourselves or anybody else because we think we're superior. But if you look at the animal species and the way they treat each other, if you look at a forest and the beautiful fiber optic matrix, they don't care if you're a willow or an oak, you're a tree, you're a part of the forest. You are intertwined with them and then communicating all the time. It's us as human beings that have separated ourselves. And if we could
Mm.
collectively kind of come back to our frequency and our vibration and understand that when we ask a question of the universe, and I call it God, universe, spirit, source, energy, whichever you want to call it, refer it to being, but it's opening up to that wisdom. This is why this is called self-discovery wisdom. It's the discovery of our wisdom, which we do not always get from our experience, certain amount of human experience, wisdom we gather, but that beautiful, energetic wisdom that downloads to us, that then resonates with our heart into truth, that goes into our spirit into action, and gives us our mind the clarity that it needs to know in the moment. And it's such a wonderful feeling because you don't need to verify, justify, or anything. It just is. But we've got to get out of ego and out of mind and out of dictatorship and out of, yeah, but what if, or expectation, and just trust and allow the feeling to envelop us.
Mm, sweet. It's the sweet spot. I have a question that maybe
Mm,
we can play with, and I put that out to the audience as well. Are we noticing shifts in what animals do? For example,
yes.
animals that would normally live alone are banding together.
Yes.
Animals are beginning to do interspecies
Mm,
caretaking. They will rescue other animals. If there's a fire and somebody is getting cats and dogs and fawns, they put those all in the car. There's no fighting.
no.
They're all in the frequency of we're getting helped.
Yes.
The modeling is getting incredible and astonishing about
Beautiful.
the
Beautiful.
yeah.
Coming to humans. I watched a video yesterday of a elk coming to humans and like slightly charging at a car, not to hit it, but
Mm,
and then kind of stepping back and charging and stepping back until somebody registered it's asking for something. And then I
mm.
said to the elk, show me. And it was another elk was stuck in the mud, which needed help to get out. Right. And it's like, stop assuming that everybody's your enemy.
Oh gosh, yeah. Yeah, good point. Even insects coming in,
Yes.
like the things that scare us,
Well,
like
I mean,
they're,
mosquitoes. I'm still on the fence with
yeah,
mosquitoes.
I'm having trouble with them with that. Well, I'm trying to use the organic stuff that they don't like, but my skin doesn't suffer as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
I know. And it's still like, well, what's your use? Okay, I know you're food for a species, but do I have to be your food?
yeah, precisely. I
But you're so right about, the communication of, like, an animal mothering another species that's maybe the mother has died. And but we're seeing this with our children. We kind of refer to them as indigo children, of how in tuned they are. There's a show called America's Got Talent and then Britain's Got Talent. And the amount of children that are coming on from the age of even 8 up that are doing magic or singing or doing something beyond their years
mm,
and doing it so from the heart, so engaged. It isn't something they've learned to do and they're doing it. They are being
mm.
it.
It's
And
that
it's wonderful to see.
it's full body. It's not even
Yes.
just the part. And
Yes.
this is, for us to get a full body response to something, if we have an inquiry, also, if we can get out of the thinking mind
Yeah,
and
yeah.
kind of check in each energy center, what's going on here? How does my heart feel about it? Am I grounded in this? What has my throat chakra got to say about this thing I'm doing? Yeah, that it's one of the things to look for is a full body. Yes, what
Mm,
that resonates because that goes out in the world and frequency matches frequency. And that also can happen with plants and with animals and
mm,
with water.
mm.
And I think this is a fun time to bring in water because, you're
Yes.
clearly well aware water is conscious. And there's a
It's a
fabulous woman
fabulous conduit.
in New Zealand studying this. And it's the fascination is she's actually Veda Austin is her name, and I think we have a link in here somewhere for her, and it's on the consciousness of water. She has been taking photographs
Mm,
of water, and she has people all over the world doing this, and discovered there is a glyph system that water has a language. So she's communicating with water and validating it, not scientific method, though thousands of samples, I should think,
mhm.
qualify. Science doesn't really like the so-called anecdotal, but there is a language that certain patterns will appear. and reflections appear. And that is a fascinating rabbit hole. I invite everybody to go down, because that it's sobering and uplifting in so many ways
And
to
we're
see what
70%
water does.
water.
Hello.
Yeah.
So our own water frequency is
Hmm.
responding to things constantly.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I mean, even Veda asks, is water experiencing itself through us? Or
Mm.
are we experiencing
Mm.
ourselves through water? Like, which soul is in here? Or are there two of us in here having an experience on planet Earth in this particular
Are we being a choir and an
manifestation?
orchestra under ourselves? Yeah.
Yeah,
Remember
really.
Emoto, the water
Yes.
experiment with Emoto. His assistant, Yashiki, Emoto died. And so he carried on with the experiment. And it was measuring water in various parts of the world and then looking at the people around that water. And he would find they'd be healthier, more at peace, live longer, but most importantly, be so utterly in tuned, so
Mm,
utterly at one with the universe. And so, living in their very quiet wisdom, right? So just a simple, beautiful wisdom of essence of being. And he contributed a great deal of it as the water in its purification, being able to purify our bodies and our water, and allowing our spirits to open up to receive. Because if we're so full of toxins all the time, and then it's very hard to kind of download something that's going to be the purity, because it has to get rid of the toxins. So we have to be very, very conscious of what we think, how we feel, how we treat others, because that affects our water.
inside, indeed, not just the glass of water
Yes.
outside us.
Yes.
And the fascinating thing with this is the toxicity of water that has been in pipes.
Mm,
Water likes to flow softly.
yes.
All these bends
Mm,
and everything it's not happy water. But when it goes through a torn zone and that water is photographed, the crystalline structures
mm,
are a mess. And when that water, you can work on that water
yeah.
energetically, but when pure water or water in a lake or from a spring from underground that isn't toxic
Mm,
energetically or
yes.
chemically is photographed, there it's like more like snowflakes, like
Yes. Yes. Yes.
beautiful structures.
Yes.
So, the language now is we are becoming crystalline. We're coming
Yes.
into our
Yes.
crystalline selves. Well,
Yes.
this is a piece of it,
Hmm.
is that it doesn't show up till we're frozen. We don't have to freeze ourselves, but that like we
We
are
don't have to go to that extreme.
no, this crystalline structure energetic is in us
Yes.
to form that. So water has more forms than we have researched. Like there's the liquid, vapor, um, frozen, and then there's a gel. And the gel stuff has memory that's outdoing computer chips.
Mm.
Like, so there's a whole experimental thing going on
Because of
about
its
that
fluidity and flexibility.
and it
Yeah.
holds information.
Yeah.
So all of those forms are in us
Hmm.
and in the water we drink. They're just dormant at different times. So all of the potential, we're living with all this potential.
Yes.
So this is kind of a squirrely thing even for me to talk about, but understanding that all these factions are going on in us, and the caretaking and the detoxing and the frequency things, finding what, like for me, a dance floor with particular
Hmm.
rhythms. And there are people doing music now that are particular hertz.
Hmm.
So it will
Yes.
be for
Yes.
different healing. And so those frequencies can support the state of the fluids in our
Hmm.
body. Frequency wands, blowing
Mm.
air and energy through crystals. Like there's so
Yes.
many ways you can do this, and to understand how deep it goes.
Yeah. And also how
Wow.
simple it is, because, the beauty of where we're seeing science today, and the reason why this show is called Quantum Spirituality, is that finally, through the understanding of quantum physics, they're beginning to understand quantum spirituality, and that spirituality isn't woo-woo and occult. And it's not anti-God. It is a higher hertz of living, a higher frequency,
Mhm.
where you're living from a place of compassion, caring, kindness, love. And that to do harm to yourself or to anyone else, it is the ricochet of it is just too much. So you always do unto others with the love and the compassion that you hope to feel that comes from you. And if we could all rise up to that hertz, even just a little bit, rise up to the love frequency, we would start seeing healing happening in this world. Less rushing to wars, less rushing to anger, less rushing to divide and hate, but looking more to I see you, I feel you. And I don't care what package you come in, the body vessel, I feel and see your heart, soul, and spirit presence. And we could start, like a forest of all diverse trees, start communicating with each other on a deeper level.
Mm. There's okay, something's just percolating in me. So keep talking. There's something brewing up. What,
I think
um,
we're waking up, as you pointed out, and the beauty. I've been doing this 12 years and just seeing how much more we can have this conversation now, and people aren't shutting it down. Instead, they're more, I'm hungry for it. I'm ready to listen, learn, and apply. I don't understand what's happening inside of me. Or is it a sixth sense? What's happening? And this is where they need the guidance from true souls that are really have following their true meaningful purpose to help people open up to receive, open up to understand the feeling. It's feeling the knowledge, not thinking the knowledge,
mhm.
right? Feeling the conversation that's going on in your body, in your spirit, and your aura, and understanding where it's taking you. It's surrendering, it's trusting, it's allowing, and then stepping into the essence of who you are.
I'm just going to breathe that in, everybody. So what just popped in is the concept, which is now being spoken of more, is quantum entanglement.
Mhm.
And this is currently fascinating me because from the perspective of everything is connected, everything has a ripple effect. We are multi manifestations of humanity. We are
Yes.
multi-species on this planet, but every action, everything that we're doing, every frequency we're sending out is blending and connecting with other things and each other and other countries and the water, and like
Mhm.
everything is in this field both of knowledge and effect. So the inquiry for me now is this strange juxtaposition where we have been living in duality. We're a species separate from everything else.
Mhm.
There's a whole lot of others, we other people, we other situations. And what's rising now is the consciousness of that whatever color,
Mhm.
species, plant, anything we are one on this planet. So
Mhm.
we're
Mhm.
working towards this oneness, and everything that we do is connected. At the same time, on this beautiful planet, we have different expressions of humanity, animals, plants, energies. And so I'm curious about this management of wanting to be one planet, but not mandated as one
Yes.
planet.
Yes, yes.
Because when that happens, then the indigenous wisdom,
Mhm.
the the connection and frequencies of the jungle compared to here on the West
Mhm.
Coast, my body, my frequency, my knowledge, my relationship, my everything is based on what I grew up with and what I'm in. And if there's this planetary mandate of everybody does the same thing, we are shutting down all this wisdom.
Become
And
humanoids.
we could, yeah, it's and not respecting and honoring the frequency,
Yeah.
vibration, and energies of all these pockets of differences.
Yeah.
So this is a challenge for
Mm.
all of us in consciousness explorations and in taking care of this planet. How do we hold sacred wisdom and at the same time recognize oneness? So this is it's a current exploration for me, and I'm in inquiry in this with a lot of people. And what I'm finding now also, we talked about animals coming
Mm-hmm.
in and working together. There's also the fae, the fairies,
Mm-hmm.
the entities, the
Mm-hmm.
the beings that live multidimensionally
Yes.
that are starting to pop through and have conversations with us. So
Yes.
I find um, with people and businesses that I work with that when we tune in, what about this person or this project? Not only does some wisdom come through from that side, but there might be a freaking dragon coming in and saying, well, we got to burn through this part, or you like
And be
everything is
open to
joining.
receive it. Exactly.
Yeah,
It's not, don't
don't panic.
don't panic and don't shut it down.
Don't shut it down.
Don't shut it down.
Yeah.
I just want to reverse back to, the oneness is that my analogy all the time is we're in discovery of what our instrument is. And we learn how to play that instrument where we can be a soloist, right? But we also can join the orchestra and in harmony, collectively, all in our own strengths, we can come together and make music that transcends and that ascends us as a human race. It's not about becoming a blob in an orchestra and losing identity. It's about
Mm,
bringing the best of us to the orchestra, but willing to bring that strength and that harmony of who we are into the harmonic music that then can pulsate out. And that's how I look at, people think this oneness is, like the Borg from Star Trek, that you will be assimilated and it is futile. It is being the light that you are, being the energy signature that you are, then finding that orchestra where you belong, where you can, with other collective, beautiful beings, create together in order to transcend out. And as far as fairies and things like this, I grew up with them. And I grew up with people that have passed over, and I was a dimensional traveler. And it's like,
mm,
I was taught to believe the white coats will come and get me, right? Because it was something you don't talk about it, don't you dare tell anybody. And it was like, but it's so beautiful. Why? And if I did talk about it, people will either be amazed and then walk away, or demon, cross and all of
mm,
that type of thing. And it's like, do you not understand? We are so much more than the limited limitations you've put on us as a human race. And that when we're willing to expand out to everything, talking about trees. I used to go into the forest and I remember distinctively going down this one road one day and the trees were rustling away like crazy. And I said, you're all talking at once. I can't hear you. Every single tree stopped,
mm.
right? Not one single leaf moved. And I said, thank you. Now one at a time.
Love it. Love it. More stories like this. The ability in this also is important, that when somebody comes through, like our team that does this work for a company with something hitherto unexpected, unheard of, and is to stay in the wow,
Yes,
okay, how does that fit? Does it resonate? Is
yes.
because each of us have, like yourself, you've got connections with the fae, and
Mm-hmm.
each of us has different link ups and different stages of
Mm-hmm.
that. So to welcome it when we're also with other people, and not just shut down.
Yes.
And what fascinates me is that all over the world, there are mythical creatures that are in so many histories,
Mm-hmm.
so many symbols all over the planet from different eras. And like we can't shut that down. Like
And why are we being expected to? Who dictated that this is what we should do? And there were a few humanoids that decided to bring in the rule of law, be it through religion, which is not godlike, it's man's,
Mhm.
interpretation to control you, organization, government, education. Everything was to keep you in line, keep you in fear, keep you in control. And we're looking at all of that now and going, I'm tired of the fear. I don't want your control. I don't want your interpretation. I am feeling something. I want to listen to what I feel, and what I feel is the truth. I cannot buy this codswallop that's being dealt out anymore.
So therefore, stay in the state of wonder, because
Mm,
that decision, I'm not doing this anymore.
mhm.
That's step one. And then it's okay, now that I'm out of this box and
Yes,
these control mechanisms, what is out there? What is
yes.
coming in? What can I do with this? And where is my soul called? Where is my heart called? Where's my mind called? We won't throw that out
No, 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 no,
entirely.
no, no.
And
It's, as I
just,
said, it's the wisdom to know how to use the mind,
yes,
not trusting just
exactly.
the mind. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm really enjoying this emancipation
Mm.
of,
Yes.
and multi-species are emancipating themselves
Mm.
as well. Like people's
Yes.
pets are getting clearer, and like the animals you describe, buffeting a car to get
Yeah.
help.
Yes.
I mean, there's videos online
Yes.
about animals that ask for help,
Yes.
and it's just extraordinary,
Yes. And isn't
absolutely
it actually
incredible.
wonderful when you see a human hear the calling and
Yes.
step up? That is the true beauty of humanity is when we step up to help each
Mm,
other and not step over each other, right?
yeah.
Which we have. How did we get there? How did we get that we would walk over other people? Oh, it's not me, mate. As long as it's not me, I'm all right. Don't you understand? That person's pain is your pain.
And we are all interlaced here. It's all
And, and,
interlaced.
and we're
Yeah.
feeling the pain right now. So what can we do about
Mm,
it? Well, we can raise our harmony by raising our compassion, raising our wonderment, raising our kindness, right?
yeah.
We have to be the love and the peace we seek. It's not out there. It's in here, waiting to come out and to be shared with everyone.
And we have to be the explorers, capital E,
Yes.
and find like-minded people that we can have these conversations about some of these weird and unexpected events, so we can normalize them
I
in
say
ourselves
like
and to each
soul
other.
people.
Yeah,
You can
we
when
soul tribes.
well, yeah, exactly. When souls talk to each other, you meet someone, the soul's talking to each other, the heart's engaged, right? The
Mm.
spirit's all excited, and like the mind is getting these epiphanies. You don't get that unless you're willing to open up the heart and soul to the conversation, to the possibility.
And trusting that not everything has to make sense.
Right.
Like a lot of stuff comes in metaphor and images and symbols. And if we get over analytical
Yeah.
or try to does this mean I have to, we're
Yeah.
kind of coming out of fear instead of, okay, let this,
Sit.
I don't know, just let it sit, let it
Yeah.
percolate.
Hmm.
There is a mastery in letting things percolate and seeing what comes through when it has time to go through our bodies and our chakras and our feeling. And then, oh, now I get it.
Mm.
Or you might need another piece that's, what is the term? We're often off on cosmic treasure hunts, that we
Yes.
find something and it's a clue, but it's not the whole puzzle. So you can't crush the clue
Mm.
into conformity. We have to take that clue, and it may be kind of a goose chase before we get to something, but it's like the field is orchestrating our presence to
Mhm.
get to a certain place at a certain time. And in my current working model of the universe, it's responding to my desire and my imaging and my visaging and the frequency I'm developing. And so a lot of things are not a straight line.
No,
I want to get clear what I want and go to it. Well, if you don't kind of play,
it's a dance.
it's a dance. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
And don't panic when
Oh,
you think, what the heck is this? I didn't ask for this. And sometimes we get things that we think this is not it at all, and then think it's a
yeah.
fail. But it's okay, now you are reviewing this again and you're really getting it, that this is not
Mm.
it. So now you can fully close, but this is from your previous frequency.
And it needed to
And
come up.
it needs to come up, so you
Yeah.
go, oh, no, thank you very much. And
Exactly.
then you really shift. Something I'm finding really valuable in this, because the question is, okay, how do we do this? How do we get into
Mm,
these new vibrations? The understanding is that when we want a big change in our lives or in ourself, we cannot get there by being the same frequency.
right.
So, simple, playful things. Go through your closet, put something on you haven't put on for a long
Mm,
time. Take a different route to where you're going. Eat at a different time. Just make subtle changes, just like when about to move. I don't know. I worked as a realtor for years, and when sellers were getting ready to leave, their houses and my own would turn into a shambles, because in order to leave it and
yes.
break all the family patterns and the spirit of the
Yes.
place, you have to undo the habits or you'll never pack a thing.
Right.
So the chaos comes, but there's a joy in this creative chaos. Okay, I'm not bound by having my breakfast at this time or eating a certain thing or going to the store at that time and getting home for something. I'm just going to go free form. And what happens then? And then our frequency changes
Hmm.
and it's fun rather than, oh, I have to fix myself, or, you just start
Well,
in
if you
these
have to
small
fix yourself,
steps.
then you're looking at yourself as broken. You
Hmm.
just might be discombobulated, right?
A few of us just might be these days, my friend. That's a beautiful word not being used, but yeah, I think I can qualify for that on a regular basis and have to laugh.
Mhm.
Like, okay, this is part of the breakdown of the ruts I've been in. This is really discombobulated. So I think at one point I called myself, I am my own personal poltergeist, because I was dropping things and flipping a fork out of my plate, and just it was nuts. And so I thought, okay, it's poltergeist activity, but in me, so that the other self is
Yes.
maybe in some kind of rebellion and
Yeah, right.
doing all these weird things. It was too funny, but that lightened it up for me instead of going into, is there something wrong with me? And no, this is, I'm unraveling
Right.
patterns,
And and
the
and
container is no longer containing.
but those patterns want to hold on. They're kicking and
Mm,
screaming as you're kicking them out.
yeah.
And if they do kind of come up when you think you've dealt with them, and you go, you again. No, no, that's just maybe a kind of a little bit of a clearing this that needs, or maybe it's a warning that you might be going back into that pattern without knowing
Hmm.
it. Or sometimes it's just to remind you how far you've come. And aren't you grateful that you're no longer in that pattern?
And even occasionally, wisdom.
Yes.
Because that old self did something for a reason.
Hmm.
And sometimes it's just a reminder, I was taking care of X and Y and you banished me, but who's handling that now?
Right, right.
And is it effective?
Yes.
So I'm here to say, hello. So, it's like always
You
don't
can
throw the,
take the efficiency of me and leave the dysfunction of me
yes.
in the pattern, right? Because
Yeah.
there's always something is I've been a free-forming person my entire life. And for me, structure was extremely difficult because I'm a wind. I go with the wind and the water. I'm constantly in flow and I hate to be stagnant. And then I had children. And so you have to have a routine with
Yeah.
children, right? And so it was hard for me to get into that routine where, very much wanted to be in the moment. And it's trying to find that balance between the structure and the spirit wanting to play all the time. And it's like, how do we hone that spirit, that free fall, into a structure that actually could be more productive? Right. So
Mm,
it's just a learning curve, a willing to adjust and to learn and to try things out. As you say, put things on. Oh, this doesn't feel like me anymore. Go into a shop, I want something new, put it on. I don't know. Is it me? Isn't it me? And then you put something on and go, yes, I can wear this. And then,
mm.
it's trying things on in everything in life. And there are going to be some things where it's a no-no, maybe, and other things, oh yeah.
Indeed. And you just reminded me of something. This how do we take care of the vessel? You know, our body is antennas, so keeping clean and clear and listening to
Mm,
all parts. But that's another place where there is, as you described, with children,
mm.
children will fall apart if they don't get fed at, you know,
Yes.
regular intervals. Our animals will fall apart if
Mhm.
they don't get fed
Don't
at
we?
regular intervals. And yeah, you know, we get hangry.
Yes.
So there's also the balance of habit, compulsion,
Mm.
locked behavior, and healthy routine
Yes.
that
Yes.
helps keep us grounded
Mhm.
and eating enough and drinking enough and managing kids. And then don't make that all consuming. Like, how can
Yes.
that element of play be in there as well? Play
Yeah, the
and
balance.
inquiry. Yeah. Yeah, it's
Now,
quite.
you were a part of the Mission 262
Oh, yes,
book,
indeed.
right?
I
Which would,
still am. That
yeah,
thing
still.
is not stopping
Oh
anytime
no, no, it's
soon.
got a motor all of its own. So it's Mission Accepted 262 Women Entrepreneurs, Creators, and Media. You are in here. I'm in here as well. And you know the beauty of this book, which is really good to get, is that it's 262 women sharing insights. Maybe something they've been through, maybe some way they look at life, maybe some nuggets. But the beauty of it is that window of opening up. And I think the more and more, if we are on a journey, kind of looking at, okay, I'm feeling this, but I'm flapping in the wind. I'm not quite sure where to go. This is when listen to podcasts, read books, pick up a book like this and read
Mm.
Roberta's page. And the game, back to the listen or read, learn. How do I apply this? Because it could be one word that sticks out, right? Sit with that word. Why has that word had such an impact on you? What does it want you to do? If we go, okay, that one word, what am I meant to do with it? No, take a breath, grasshopper.
Take a breath.
Slow down, be still, be present, and get out of mind. Don't think about it. Digest
Mm.
it, as you said. Feel that word. That word will present itself in an action for you when the time is ready. And this is the beauty of being a part of this book. And yes, it's a motor that keeps on going. Deb Drummond is certainly the generator here. And I've had the honor of meeting so many beautiful people and interviewing from the 262. I'm proud of it. I think you're the 43rd person now that
Ooh
I'm
la la.
interviewing from
Yeah.
here. And it's taking, that you've only got a couple of pages in here, everybody does. But then taking the essence of what you've written there and the essence of who you are and why you consented to be in the book and elaborating on your story. And we've only touched on it today. We've only touched on the journey that you're on. But this is kind of the introduction. We've got to come back and do another show and go deeper,
This would be
definitely down
fun.
the road.
Yeah.
Because right now it's about the people that are beginning to feel or awakening up or understanding. Even the simple thing, if they're of the water today, we're 70% water, right? If our water is contaminated through our thoughts, through our negativity, through our foods, through our environment, that's supplying the water for all of your organs and your well-being. So if we are physically and emotionally down, our water isn't serving us. But if we start serving our water with affirmations of love, kindness, caring, compassion, and nutrients and sunlight and acts of wonderful kindness to other people, our water starts changing, the organs start feeling better, everything
Mm.
about us opens up. We've got to understand there's a cause and reaction to everything. I mean, we have to take ownership, don't we? It's not the pointing of the finger. It's like looking at, how do I embrace the inner me and all that is trying to awaken me into being the being I am meant to be.
And what part of this whole dilemma or whatever I think I'm in is me?
Yes,
Yes. How
yes.
can I respond fully? Yeah.
I mean, it's a wonderful time. I'm turning 70, so I hopefully have got a good another 20 years doing this as long as I can see, hear, and speak. And just to see how far we've come, I've been doing this 12 years, just seeing how far we've come in the last 12 years, and then see how far we're going to go in the next 20, because the shift is already there. It's like trying to put women back into barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen. We're out of the womb, baby. You can't put
Yeah,
us back,
too
right?
late.
Too
Yeah.
late. We're not only awoken, just because you're not seeing us on CNN and Fox News, we're quietly getting on. We've embracing the hearts and the souls and the spirits of others. We're igniting them, right?
Mm.
We're lifting them up. We're supporting them. And we're getting on with business while you're busy griping.
Oh, goodness. Agreed. Agreed.
It's a beautiful state to be. But I mean, I did wake up like this. I did go, my childhood was this, but I was also an incredibly sickly child. And that actually allowed me to dimensional travel because I'd be weeks on end in bed, right?
So many tell this,
Yes,
that
yes,
and look back and the
yeah,
dream world, the vision world,
yes,
the commitment to healing in
hmm,
spite of what's being told
yeah,
because you couldn't do anything else. So
exactly.
might as well go deeply in. So
Yes,
there is, let's transform that. There is something to be said for stopping.
yes,
You don't have to
exactly.
get sick, but
True.
just
Yeah,
stopping
true. That was
and
what was
listening.
given to me, but yeah, continue recording. Hi, folks. We had a little lovely Zoom hiccup there. Maybe it was joining in and saying, yes, yes, yes. Let's
Stop.
awaken and get the message
I
going.
was talking about stopping.
Yes, you were talking about stopping. So it stopped. It got the message. No, we weren't talking about you, Zoom.
Oh, that's funny.
And I think, also we're going to get kind of funny little messages along the way, right? And it's like,
Mhm.
which do you laugh at? Which do you take seriously? And which do you, flip off, right? And
Mhm.
don't take, oh, it means this. No, it's just like, it could be a pause. It could be a reflection. It could be something else. Again, don't go so analytical, right?
It's exhausting.
It is.
It is exhausting, and also, being around people that are like, "Oh, does this mean that? Does this mean that? Does this mean this?" It's like it's torture, personal
Yeah.
torture for them. The ability to not understand, and I think when I grew up,
Okay, here we go. Zoom keeps wanting to butt in, right? But we're going to tell Zoom, no, we're going to finish this show. So you were saying, my darling,
what was I saying?
I don't know.
Oh, just overthinking
Yes.
constantly it's tortuous, and that um, the ability to stay in the mystery. This is
Yeah.
something that got through to me when I was young and would be lying on the grass and, classic, looking at the sky and thinking, what am I? What is this? Where did everything come from? Um, where did all this material come from, that made the earth? So always in the mystery, and
Mm.
keeping the attitude that there is a lot of mystery, and it to keep animating the mystery is part of how to do this.
And the mystical mystery, right?
Mm,
It's like stop. So the mystery, the mystical, the wonderment, the openness and willingness to receive. I think that's the thing.
mm,
Don't dictate. It isn't about conforming. It isn't about following everybody else. Stop being a sheeple. Stop, letting somebody else control you. Step into that wonderment, that mystical, that open to everything else. And if weird things are happening to you and tapping you on the shoulder, just be still enough to go, okay, hello, what do you
mm.
want me to know? And
What
then
do you
get
want me
out of
to
your
know?
way and be willing to receive, because it may not come speaking English into your ear. It will come as showing you something, or making you feel something, or somebody coming into your life.
Yes, and may come repeatedly,
Yes,
same until you
until
get
you
it.
get the message.
Mhm.
We
Indeed.
do have to do another show.
Okay.
Okay, so yes, we're having good old internet thingies here today, but that's okay, because you are going to come back again, and we're going to go deeper, deeper,
I look
and
forward to it.
and and pull back those layers and go into deeper of how we can really, phase two of awakening. But in the meantime, how do people get hold of your Mission Accepted 262 book? Also, how do they get hold of you, and what are you offering?
Okay, so the book is on Amazon in all countries, so people can get it that way. Um, I don't have a website. I'm working in the ethers myself, but Roberta Skye at yahoo.ca. Also, you can find me on Facebook and you can private message me. And what I'm offering, I do readings where your guides talk to me, my guides talk to you, and we can do this online like this. I can do.
We hope that you enjoyed the show. There are so many more for you here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. Just go to the podcast tag at the top there and you will see all the many genres and all 3,000 shows ready for your listening. We are here to serve you, to help you on your journey of life, and we know that through inspiration it begets invitation. We are supported by you, the listeners, and those that we interview. Anything that you can spare us in donation would be greatly accepted, and we do hope that you enjoy the next show.